Good afternoon, dear students, parents, and learned teachers. I welcome you all to the Sage Talk. Before we begin, let's have an AV to introduce you all with Sage Group. Thank you, Tanu ma'am. I now welcome Ms. Palak Sabu. She is co-founder and CEO at Kaizen Academy. She is the speaker of today's Sage Talk, and the topic that she has chosen is skill development in 21st century. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Neelam ji. Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here, and I hope we have a great time for the next 40-15 minutes. So, before we get started, I would quickly like to give a small introduction to everyone. Like Neelam ji already mentioned, my name is Palak, and I'm the co-founder and CEO at Kaizen Academy. Now, Kaizen, does anyone here know what is the meaning of Kaizen? Just one thing before we get started, I would love for this session to be very interactive. आप सब मुझसे जितना बात कर सकते हैं प्लीज करिए, जो भी क्वेश्चंस हों थ्रू आउट, या तो आप चैट के थ्रू या वीडियो के थ्रू मेरे से पूछ सकते हैं. तो काइजन का मतलब होता है कंटिन्यूस इम्प्रूवमेंट, that we should constantly keep evolving with the changing times. एंड जिसका सबसे अच्छा एग्जाम्पल अभी है, कुछ महीनों पहले हम में से किसी ने नहीं सोचा होगा that schools will operate like this, colleges will operate like this, and now the situation has completely changed, but we're changing with it. So that is exactly what Kaizen also means, that you change with changing times and change for the better. इससे पहले I used to work at Google, and the reason I started my own company, leaving Google, was that everywhere, like through different countries that I went to, different companies that I worked with, I saw that there was a gap in terms of what we learn and what the industry needs. Which is why जब मैं बार्सिलोना में थी, I was in one of the best schools, best MBA schools worldwide, and even there we have people from many different countries. But whenever it came to giving presentations, Indians were very good when it came to problem solving, doing the coding, doing the numbers. But when it actually came to presenting those numbers, everyone used to be very scared, because we do not do enough public speaking, which is why I started this company. And here we focus on 21st century skills for parents, for teachers, for students, and for corporates. So this is a little bit about Kaizen. And also I would like to tell everyone that I am also born and brought up in Bhopal. Till 10th standard I was also in Bhopal, and hopefully sometime when the pandemic ends, I would love to meet everyone in person. So that is a small introduction from my side. Should we get started, Neelamji?
Yes,
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, please continue.
All right. So let's get started. I will quickly share the presentation. Just a second. All right, so today we're going to talk about 21st century skill development. So before we dive deeper into it, I would want to know from the teachers and from the parents here that why is there so much talk about 21st century skill development? What are the new skills that the children need to learn? Anyone?
Technology, ma'am.
All right, technology. What else? Any other reasons, like why is the skill development in 21st century different from all the other centuries? Like, why is there so much talk about 21st century skill development, and why are there so many sessions on 21st century skills? Hello? Can everyone hear me? I think everyone's on mute. All right.
Palak madam, I would like to say something about this.
Okay.
Actually, in Indian education system is like that. We emphasize more on theory rather than practical work or skill. But in foreign countries, the education system is not like this.
Right.
So we would also like to have our children, skilled children. And that is why we talk too much about this skill development. I think so.
Absolutely. I completely agree that the times have changed. How students learn these days is also very different. I work with a lot of students, and some of them get Alexa to do their homework. Sometimes they're asking the questions to Google Assistant to get the answers. While we would go to our parents or look at books, the children now have all the information on their fingertips, and they can just learn via internet. So let's see what these 21st century skills are and why are they so important. But before that, I would just like to set up the context a little bit. And these are a few statistics from different reports. The first one says that UNICEF actually did a research wherein 50% of the Indian students will not have the skills for 21st century jobs, which is half of our student base, that they will not be ready for the jobs that will exist in the 21st century. One of the main reasons is because that 65% of the children that are entering into the school today will actually be in the jobs that do not even exist right now. Like right now, the professions that exist, the new ones are going to be so different. We are already moving into the world of Internet of Things, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and so on. So everything that humans used to do might get automated, and students who are now going to be in 2035 working professionals are going to deal with completely new set of skills and jobs. So which is why the reason and the importance on 21st century skills. And more importantly, like I was telling in my story also, that soft skills are very, very important, because even if you're the best coder or the best doctor or the best engineer, you still have to convince people that you're very good at it. And how will you do it in cases you do not know how to communicate properly? So hence, these skills are very, very important. And 77% of the employers actually think that soft skills are as important as the hard ones. So let's dive a little deeper into it, that what are these 21st century skills? Why are they so important? And yes, they will be important in the professional life, but why should children from an early age learn these skills? Uh, any of the teachers with any answers to this, that, you know, why are these skills so important, and why should children learn them at an early age? Anyone? All right. I think I do not. Yes. I see a lot of raised hands, but I'm unable to unmute.
Ma'am, it is for adapt. We can easily adapt the certain things for surviving. We
Right, absolutely. Hi everyone, sorry for the disturbance. Can everyone hear me now?
Yes, yes. Welcome back, ma'am. What happened due to some network issue? I think you were
Yes, actually the
facing.
power just went out, so I've just switched on the power backup and we can resume again. So before I start sharing the presentation again, I would just want to please be I do not want to share the presentation and be the one talking. We were talking about the 21st century skills, and someone rightly said that they're going to be very important for us to adapt to the future. So let's quickly have a look at what these 21st century skills are and what do they mean holistically. So I'll just reshare the presentation here. So if all of you can see my screen, here are the set of skills. So the first one being the literacy skills, wherein we have so much information that is available on the internet right now. आप सभी को पता होगा कि आजकल WhatsApp पे कितने messages आते हैं, which is all fake news that आप ये पी लीजिए, कोरोना ठीक हो जाएगा, या फिर इसने ऐसे करा. So there is a lot of fake news that is there on social media platforms, on WhatsApp, and on the internet. So it is very, very important for the students to be able to know what is right and what is wrong. Whatever Google says is not always right. It is the source that has uploaded it on Google that has to be verified. So our students need to know how to use the information and also how to check whether the information is right or not, and do that by using all sorts of technology and understanding it. The second set of skills, which sort of the pillars of the other two skills, are the learning skills, which comprise of communication, creativity, critical thinking, and collaboration. That students need to be able to be confident communicators, irrespective of their job roles. They do tech jobs or non-tech jobs. It's very, very important for them to be able to communicate properly, to critically think that whatever the situation is, they can solve for it. So a very problem solving, solution oriented sort of an approach, and to keep innovating, be as creative as possible. A lot of times people think creativity is only to do with art and craft, but it is not true. You can be creative in any domain. It's just thinking out of the box. And the most important, and we do not often talk about it, is the collaboration part. That we need to collaborate more rather than having a very, very competitive culture. There is enough for everyone to do. So in cases we can work together, and in cases children can start learning to work together from the early age, then they would have it very, very easy in their professional life, because as the world is becoming more and more global, children need to collaborate in as many domains as possible. And once like you already understand the literacy and learning skills and you're ready to incorporate them, life skills automatically become an outcome of it, wherein we're flexible, we do not have a rigid approach, we're okay to fail, learn from it, experiment, and do something else. uh, be a leader, but also know when to be a team worker. Take initiative, that yes, you're ready to learn new things, you're ready to accept change, you manage your time well. And absolutely, like nowadays I was saying that the children are doing their homework through internet, they're learning through internet, they're speaking to everyone on the internet. So are they going to have best friends as their gadgets or actual human beings? So more and more as we move towards technology, we're raising a generation awkward, which definitely needs to have the right sort of social skills. So these three together, like already all of you might be knowing, constitute the 21st century skills. And they shouldn't be set apart and taught in isolated compartments, but actually integrated together. So in cases right now also, we just type on Google that what are the most important skills. This is what the result would be, which is exactly what 21st century skills are all about. So just how important it is to communicate and be a problem solver. Now, coming to the new education policy, there is a lot of discussion that has been happening around it. So I wanted to know from the teachers, What, according to you, are the changes that the new education policy is going to bring about? It is the first policy of the 21st century. So how is it different from all the policies that we have had before? Anyone?
From theory to practical,
All right.
we should move. And 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 policy will be there. In
Right.
that, we have to take care. 5 means pre-primary, class 1 and 2 will be counted as one unit. Then 3, 4, 5. Then 6, 7, 8, and 9 to 12. It means from 8th onwards, children, they can select their own stream. It's their choice what they want to take. We have to teach them in their mother tongue, and lot many new changes are there in the new education policy.
All right. So, as a career shaper, what do you feel about it? Like, are you happy about this policy? And how easy or difficult do you think implementing this would be? Considering it's been going like this for years and years.
Whenever change takes place now, it takes time to adjust. We have to adopt either whatever we feel. What I feel that is very good for the children, because definitely when we go from theory to practical, it will change their knowledge, it will change their mindset, and they will take little time, but they will be very happy with the policy. It is for the betterment of the students only.
Absolutely, absolutely. And how much do you think does the new education policy integrate 21st century skills?
100% I feel.
I absolutely agree that, you know, there is a lot of talk about the new education policy and the changes that it is going to bring. But in cases we actually go through the entire report that the government has published, it is just implementation of 21st century skills that we've been learning about in theory for a very long time. But for it to be actually incorporated properly is why the government has driven it down so deep. So there are a lot of things that the new education policy will bring about in terms of a change. There are going to be things for higher education, for university education, for working employees, and even for schools, there is going to be a lot of aspects such as equality in education. But that is on a very, very grassroots level. But in cases we talk about the private schools and how this is going to change the way we learn, there are a few things that again are just the implementation of 21st century skills that we can quickly discuss. Let me just go to the next screen. All right, so the first one is the learning shift that this is going to bring about. When I gave my first interview, I went to I actually am, like I told you, I am from Madhya Pradesh, and I was the state topper. I had some 98, 99% when I was in 12th standard. So I went to Delhi University, and all the students there had very, very high marks. But when we sat for our first interview, what happened was I saw everyone around me was trying to learn their own resume. वो अपना ही resume याद करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, because that is how deeply rote learning has spread in India. It is like cancer. Like, you know, we just know that is how we give exams. हमें और कोई तरीका आता ही नहीं था एग्जाम्स देने का, कि एग्जाम से पहले आपको सब कुछ याद करना है और एग्जाम में जाके वो सारी चीजें लिख डालनी है. जब मैं फर्स्ट टाइम बाहर गई, and when I had an open book exam, I was shocked. I was like, okay, so I'm allowed to use the internet, I'm allowed to use all the books, and yet that exam turned out to be a very difficult exam, because वो real life exam था. Real life में भी, when we're faced with problems, we always have internet and we always have the books. So it's about how well can we apply that information. So the learning shift is now going to be from the rote learning to more conceptual understanding. Like you were mentioning, ma'am, that it is going to shift from theory to actual practice. So how well do you understand concepts is going to be very, very important, rather than how good your memory is, because the exam should be more than just a test of memory. The second thing, which is my favorite thing, is that the NEP wants that students should enjoy what they're learning. So the government wants to make the learning process very enjoyable. So here I would want to know, children are usually very, very resistant to learning. They say that I don't want to go to another class, I do not want to study more. So there is a lot of resistance when it comes to learning. So I wanted to understand, how can we make the learning process enjoyable? And is it possible to do a enjoyable learning process for 40 students at once in a classroom? Anyone with any ideas on how to make learning enjoyable? No one?
100% we can make learning enjoyable.
All
All
right.
the students, not only 40, if 500 students are there in one session, we can make them, because when you will make your class interactive, when you
Right.
will show them different process, different practical methods, if you will teach them, definitely they will enjoy their class.
Absolutely, absolutely. In cases they're loving what they're doing, it automatically will make. There are times when we get students, because we work with a lot of students in schools, when we tell them to solve for problems, and we just give them some chart papers and post-its to draw it out and discuss with everyone. They don't want to stop after a while, because this time they're not consuming information, they're actually creating with the facilitators rather than just uh, sitting and listening to the teachers. They're participating in the learning process. The third one is the personalized learning journeys, which is something that should have been integrated very, very early on, but grateful that it is now happening, that each student should have their own personal journeys. It's not important for everyone to learn the same thing at the same pace. It's all right in cases one student is very, very good at math, and the second student is very creative, and the third student is very, very good at sports. So in cases there are some areas which the student excels in, the policy will make sure that they accelerate the process of growth in that area for those students. The fourth part is the skill-based education, wherein now students, of course, from grade 6 will learn how to code, which is very important. They will also learn how the industry works. They also get to have some bagless days, which is very interesting. And I wish they existed when we were kids, that they can just work and actually interact with local artisans, or intern with a gardener or a carpenter or an electrician, to actually get some vocational knowledge. The fifth one, and I think now the path ahead will be easier, considering COVID was a blessing in disguise for this, that more and more technology integration is important into education, because in cases the child is learning through technology at home right now, and if all the information is available, then it is very important to start having blended learning models, which integrate online and offline, which integrate classroom learning and learning through technology. The next one is the most important one, and is actually the center of the new education policy, which is the teacher education. The government is now going to run a lot of campaigns to ensure that the best of the talent in this country is attracted to teaching as a profession, because a teacher, being the center and the career shaper, needs to know and be the first one to change before they help the students go through this change. So there is going to be a lot of focus on teacher education as to how, what we teach, how we teach, and what are the tools we teach through is integrated and incorporated in themselves, and then throughout the student audience as well. And the last one, which also is something I think which is very important, is the holistic assessment. Right now, the only assessment that we do is, all right, how much did you score in the exams? That automatically decides whether the child is intelligent or not. Every parent would ask, ki beta aapke kitne marks aaye? But the assessment has to be more holistic than that. That how well did the child apply the concepts into the exam? How well did the child work in a team? Did the child take initiative? Was the child able to communicate? So all of these things also should be a part of the assessment and not just the marks. So that is these are the few highlights of the new education policy from my end, which are very, very relevant and very easy to implement also. So now that we speak about the implementation, there is a lot of experimentation that each school is doing right now already. So I think this would be the best time to also get to know how the implementation of this would work for each school. So let me just go to the next slide. Anyone, any ideas on how the 21st century skills and a new education policy be implemented, especially for SAGE? Like, what do you think would be the best ways to implement these new changes into the school curriculum?
Actually, we should give them more and more chance to explore. When
Okay.
they will explore, they will learn fast.
Absolutely, absolutely, definitely agreed that the more the child explores, the curiouser the child gets, and the more curious you get, and the more questions you ask, the more answers you seek for. So, which automatically definitely makes the learning process better. So, one framework that I would want to introduce today to actually implement these changes is design thinking. I do not know in cases there has been any design thinking workshop before, but this is one of my favorite frameworks to solve for problems. The best B schools, the best companies worldwide follow design thinking as a structured way of implementing new things or solving for complex problems. So let's just touch base on what design thinking can be for 21st century teaching. So it is a 5-step process, and the first step is empathizing. That, you know, we just decide what we want to teach, and we teach that to children, but not a lot of times do we actually empathize with the child and see how will the child love to learn. Like, can we empathize and think of the way we should teach from a child's angle? So we started doing that with a few schools post the pandemic. We started empathizing, and we saw a lot of pictures wherein the child is doing a split screen and playing a game, or the video is off and the microphone is also off and the child is just listening to music or sleeping. The body posture is bad, there is no participation. So we decided to do a few experiments, and what we saw was why they were not interested was because it's hard for them for 4 hours to just sit and stare at a screen and listen. So that was one thing that we did, and we completely gamified it. So what we did was at the end of each session, we got them to have 2 cards, one of pink color and one of blue color. And the teacher would ask a few questions, and the child has to either show the pink card or the blue card as the answer. So just using these response cards was so exciting for the children. We were doing exactly the same thing. The education was still the same. The topic was still the same. Just by using these flashcards as a game at the end of each class, each child wanted to pay attention because they did not want that everyone else is flashing the blue card, and since I did not pay the attention, I'm flashing the pink card. So we started empathizing with the kids and starting to define what are the ways in which they would love to learn. Another format that we experimented with was doing a Kaun Banega Crorepati sort of a template wherein all of them would reply. So very high participation at all points of time. So we started defining what are the ways in which we can introduce formats online that would help students enjoy the learning process and actually learn and not come to the classes just for attendance. That, you know, I have to wake up at 7, 8, sit in front of the computer, I'll keep doing my own things, but I just have to be there for attendance. It should be something that they look forward to. So then the third step can be ideating on the solutions. What all are the possible solutions that there can be in each subject? How to make it the most interesting subject even while it is taught online. So once all these 3 steps are done, we can start creating a few frameworks around it. That, okay, today we will make 5 of the students for a small part of the class to be the teachers. So reciprocal teaching is a very effective method of teaching. Wherein once the child becomes the teacher, they're more interested to teach, of course, which automatically means they also learn a lot. And the children also pay more attention because it's their friends who are actually having a discussion with them. So these are just a few suggestions wherein you can prototype with different frameworks. And the last, of course, is to keep testing them. Some might work for some schools, some other frameworks will work for some schools. But this is the best time actually to test them all out, make changes, and then just keep repeating this process. So that is the design thinking process from my end. And with that, I would just like to end with a quote. One second, my screen is, yes, just. So this actually sums up everything that we've spoken about, that as soon as the child is involved, the learning process increases many fold. So this is it from my end, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has. And it was lovely having an interaction with everyone at Sage.
Thank you, Palak ma'am. Thank you so much. Today, with Palak ma'am, we came to know why 21st century skills are important, why soft skills and skill-based education is important, why learning skills, life skills, and literary skills are important. Students, they should use technology, but at the same time, source of technology and the accuracy of the technology, they should take care.
Absolutely.
That is why these skills are very important. These things we have to take care in mind. Holistic approach and assessment is possible if you will take care these skills. How you can become a polite person? Soft skills are very important because different qualities to be taken care to become a successful and a good person. Be polite, ready to learn, ready to accept lot many things we have learned from her. Thank you, Palak ma'am, for your support, for your valuable time which you have given to us. Thank you. And I'll request Tanu ma'am, please just represent token of thanks, a certificate which is digital certificate.
Thank you so much.
On behalf of Sage family, I would like to thank you. Thank you, dear ma'am.
Thank you. All right, everybody, please stay home, stay safe, and let me know if later also anyone has any questions. Thank you.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Bye.